Let There Be Light is the second one. No, we got the numbers wrong. Sorry. Soon the day will arrive. So that comes first.
Are the numbers right or the titles are right?
The first one should be hymn 146.
Terrific. So the numbers are right.
Yes.
Just the titles are flipped.
Yeah, soon the day, 146. Soon the day.
Understood. All right, 146.
Thank you, John. A couple of housekeeping things. Some people are looking for seats. There's a couple back here. All right. In addition to that, we will, the numbers of the hymns in the order of service are correct. The titles are reversed. So when you get to the first hymn, which is hymn 146, and you're looking for Let There Be Light, let me enlighten you. It is soon the day will arrive. Okay? Good morning. My name is Hank Wills. Good morning to everybody. And today I have the privilege of being your service leader. Welcome to our fellowship. To you here, to those of you watching, and to all the ships at sea, we extend a warm welcome to this fellowship of Unitarian Universalists. Caring, compassionate, decent, and loving people who care about their fellowship within these walls and their fellowship within the broader communities outside these walls, Door County, the nation, and the world. Please join me now in reading from your order of service a communal welcome, one in which we can all together welcome each other together. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we welcome you. In this place, there is room for your questions, your stories, your laughter, your doubt, your grief, and your most authentic self. We aspire to be a community of unconditional love, and we welcome you. It's our custom here at UUFDC to invite visitors, whether first time here or the first time in a long while, to stand and introduce themselves and perhaps share with us a little bit about what brought you here today. And then we invite those visitors, as we do everyone, to join us in the gathering room following the service for coffee, tea, and light snacks and lots of conversation. And then following about 15 minutes, those that wish can reconvene here at the sound of the chimes to interact with our speaker in what we call our talk back. And typically we allow about 20-25 minutes to share with our speaker, and you can share your thoughts, your questions, and take it all in. And if you're so involved in a conversation in the gathering room, that's okay too. Keep on talking, keep on listening, okay? So do we have any visitors, guests, people who haven't been here in a while, please?
Joe Haberman and Jay Lansing. We're actually friends of John and Mary Ann. We go to First Unitarian Society. We're members there with them as well. This is our first time visiting Door County, and we're very happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining us.
Delighted to have you, and enjoy the county. Yes.
Hi, my dad Art is visiting us for a while and currently living in Green Bay.
Welcome, Art. Welcome. Yes.
Hi, Karen Eichelberger and my husband Bob, and we've been visiting the Lees for many, 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 many years. Lynn and I worked together back in Milwaukee years ago.
Great.
And we have a daughter in Olympia, Washington, who is a UU minister.
Okay.
Karen was the best boss.
And Karen, you're enjoying your visit?
Oh, very much so.
Good. Lee's is more, they say. Please.
I'm Ann Sherrick. I have the pleasure of being service mom.
Wonderful.
I'm frightened to drop the head, so don't panic. You're visiting, and again, I'm happy that he's back here, so I can visit either on a regular basis.
Super. Welcome. Welcome. And by the way, I didn't check at the start. Can everybody hear me okay with the mic? Okay, fair enough. This is the time that we allot for announcements that might be of relevance or interest to those gathered here. And if you have an announcement you'd like to share, and it just occurs to me, I didn't ask somebody to be the microphone bearer. Cindy, would you? Thank you so much. If you have an announcement that you'd like to share with us, raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you, the mic will find you, and then share that announcement with us. Any announcements? Donna.
I remember this time to bring posters. I'll hold it for you. If you
Okay.
need to hold it.
Posters for the current production at DC Art Center with Rogue Theater that I'm in. And a few people have come to see it, so you can seek out reviews from the Wises and the Dunworths. And these are upcoming productions, so I'll leave these with Sarah for her to post. And I hope you'll come and join us. It's a really fun show.
Thanks.
I'd like to introduce Winifred Thrall. Really, her name is Win. Don't call her Winifred. But she is the widow of Arthur Thrall, whose exhibition is just opening in the gallery. Art was, well, we go way back. We met, what?
60s.
In the 60s, yeah. And the artwork is amazing. Arthur Thrall has, who's no longer with us, had an international reputation that was very, very, it's stunning to read what he did. And he did a lot of things abroad. He taught classes there, and they lived in England for 2 years. So she's well-traveled, and I assume Arthur was too. So come join us. She will be here to answer questions during the coffee hour, and she'll go back in after the talk back. So if you have any further questions, you can ask them then.
Super. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gwen Grayboys, and as lead of the Environment Committee, I want to let everybody help with building and grounds. The plants are coming tomorrow. From 9 to noon, any 1 hour or 3 hours of work will be more than appreciated. We're going to hopefully finish up the front. However, I am keeping a careful watch on the air quality alert. We've got southwest winds blowing right now out of Canada. It's still in the Dakotas, so we'll probably be okay. But if you know you plan to come tomorrow and you don't have access to air quality, give me a call by 8 a.m. so I can let you know if we're going to work. If it's orange, I'll work with an N95 on for a little bit. But if it's red, I don't want any of us out there. Then we need to be inside. Oh, and the other part is a little more joyous, is after the I hope the planning's joyous, the air quality isn't, but after the service, I'll be outside and I'll point out some of our new blooms. The bunnies left most of them up. They took one down within an hour from when I walked in and walked out last week. It took off the pink ones of the shooting stars. Didn't really like it because it was sitting there on the ground. But anyway, I'll point out some of our new blooms. Thank you.
You know what they say, hair today, gone tomorrow.
Oh, stop
Mark?
it. Oh, stop it. Hi, I'm Mark Richards. I just want to give you some updates on what's happening in the state action networks. Next Sunday, we're having our annual meeting for the Wisconsin State Action Network. It's going to be in Fond du Lac, and it will be on Zoom. If you want to participate, it will start about noon. Let me know. I can get you registration information. The Wednesday of General Assembly Week, the Coalition of UU State Action Networks is going to meet in Baltimore. That will also be on Zoom if you're interested in knowing what's going on in the world of state action networks. And lastly, I am your delegate to General Assembly this year. If you have something on your mind, please be in touch with me. I will not be here next week, and the following week I'll be traveling. So give me a buzz.
Thank you, Mark, for all you do. Trish.
I deem this pertinent because I know there are so many gardeners in this congregation, and so I have a lot of pots that I would love to give away. Most of them are clay pots. So I think I have about 20 varied sizes of clay pots, and I have one big square fake stone-looking pot. So if you're interested, please see me.
Aline.
I brought a bouquet today of bleeding hearts for all of us bleeding hearts.
Hi, I'm Jeff Maris. I wound up with extra tree seedlings this year. So I brought a couple of buckets, and they're out front. Please help yourself. The only thing would be is that there's some deep pots that they go in. If those would wind up back, I'll plant them again next year. They're mostly a variety, but a lot of oaks, hickories, some pines, some elms, a little bit of everything.
Great.
Hi, Bob Boltman. A couple things. I wanted to make an announcement about an event happening in July for anybody that's interested in native pollinator habitat, prairie habitat, native grasslands. I'm putting together a Door County Prairie Fest, and so on Friday, July 18th, Dan Carter, who's the staff ecologist for the Prairie Enthusiasts, a very knowledgeable prairie guy, one of the best in the biz, is speaking. It's going to be a free talk at Crossroads. And then on Saturday, we're going to do a prairie tour, and Dan will be in tow, and we're going to go to some of the different prairie sites that I work on in the county and learn about prairies. So if you're interested in that, come see me afterwards. I don't have a flyer yet. There was a Facebook save the date post, but I got to ramp up my publicity on that. And the other thing, just in the world of outdoors, I'm up to my earlobes in garlic mustard and Dame's rocket. So if you know any young people who want to pull weeds for cash, please have them see me.
Thank you, Cindy. There are also a number of announcements in the back of the order of service. I won't read them, but I invite you to. Jan Freistock approached me at the end of, or rather at the beginning of the service, or prior to the beginning of the service, and said that she wanted to make an announcement. So I invite you to come up here.
One of the best parts of being the membership chair is welcoming new members. So today I would like to invite John and Marianne Lundquist to come up. After 20 years of friendship, they're joining. John and Marianne live in Minneapolis, but have been spending more and more time at their home in Sturgeon Bay. And they let us know that they really want to make this commitment. So I've asked them to say a few words. Whoever wants to go first.
I will just say that even though we're part-time in Door County and our attendance has been on the sketchy side, this fellowship has been very enriching for us over 20 years. We don't like to rush into anything. So we've thought about this a bit, so we're very grateful for the fellowship and for all of you.
Over the years, I've helped on some of your environmental things and more political things, and feel a real sense of belonging with you. So I'm happy to say that we're moving from old friends to new members.
This is wonderful. We never know what combination of fate and friendship and good luck it is that brings certain people together in this world for any purpose. We believe that membership in this fellowship calls each of us here to celebrate the faith that has drawn us together and to regard each one as a spiritual friend and potential teacher. The relationships we form in the fellowship are based on the needs of the soul, needs that render each of us vulnerable and therefore reliant on each other's grace and goodness and generosity of spirit. As members of this fellowship, we pledge to be guardians of each other's spirits and to respect the ultimate privacy of each one's human struggle, and to believe in each one's inherent dignity. So let me share a welcome. In the bonds of fellowship and love, we unite to cultivate reverence, to promote spiritual growth and ethical commitment, to minister to each other's needs and those of humanity, to celebrate the sacred moments of life's passages, and to honor the holiness at the heart of being. So John and Marianne, we welcome you to this community with all our hearts.
A big moment.
And Sarah made the decision that you probably don't need a new member packet because you know better than most of us what's going on here. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, you will get new name tags. Yes, you will. You will get new name tags. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan, and welcome. Welcome to our fellowship. Today, we're pleased to welcome Roger Coons as our guest speaker, a trained geologist, author, and filmmaker, and musician. Roger is a former resident of Door County, now living in Connecticut, and he's currently working on some film and music projects focused on environmental and cultural issues. I very much look forward to your remarks and to your singing today as you talk about critical thresholds and other tipping points. And when he and I talked, he indicated that he was flying in from Connecticut and might want to sing, and asked if I could provide a guitar, and I said, fret not, because because so I pulled a few strings and was able to get Phil and Cindy both to bring their guitars. There was some miscommunication or some whatever events I got in the way, so we actually have two guitars. He's only going to play one of them, however. Okay, so delighted you're here and looking forward to that. I've asked Jay Dixon, my bicycling friend, to light the chalice as I read these words by Wendell Berry. Thank you, Jay. The care of the earth is our most ancient and worthy, and after all, our most pleasing responsibility. To cherish what remains of it and to foster its renewal is our only hope. Please stand if able and join in the singing of hymn, and I have to make sure I get it right, 146. And the name of that hymn, of course, is Soon the Day Will Arrive. Please remain standing for the unison affirmation, which is printed in the order of service, and also the singing of the doxology. We gather together to seek knowledge and wisdom, to explore freely the vast reaches of mind and spirit, to celebrate within a caring community those truths, ancient and modern, which give meaning and direction to our lives. By now, you probably have come to realize that one of my favorite writers is Wendell Berry. And so my first reading is The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives will be, I go down and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. And for a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and am free. Joy lifts the heart and spirit. Concern weighs down the heart and spirit. Sharing a joy within a community of friends raises it to greater heights. Sharing a concern within a community provides balm and lightens its weighty burden. If you have a joy or a concern that you'd like to share, we hope you'll share it with us. Please note that this service is live streamed and on the World Wide Web, and be sensitive to the mention of names if you haven't cleared that with whomever it might be that you're intending to name. Please raise your hand, and once again, the mic will find you.
Hi, my name is Karen Nystrom, and my joy is that my daughter is expecting her first baby in the end of July, and we will become grandparents. So I am thrilled.
Hi, Jerry Friedberg. Just wanted to say my joy is that my 17-year-old granddaughter just returned with her class trip to Tokyo, all of Honshu, 10 days. In our day, 2 generations ago, they put us on a train and sent us to the stockyards, and we had nightmares forever.
So true.
I have a couple of joys and a concern. The concern is the younger of my 2 older sisters is currently in the hospital with some spots on the lungs and her liver. She has been responding well to treatment so far, but it is a great concern, so your thoughts and energies for her would be greatly appreciated. She also will be turning 80 next week, and we were going to surprise her, but with her health condition, we changed our plans and let her know we were planning to come and visit with her. So your thoughts for my safe travels next week would be also much appreciated.
Thank you. As you can expect, my great joy is my son Wyatt. Little update, for those of you, because he hasn't been here in a while. He's just finished his sophomore year, so he's a junior now. He's 6'4". He's been taller than me for 4 years. Everyone always asks, and yes, he's tall. I think he might be done though, growing. But I wanted to my joy is really about the Kita family. Jay Kita and his wonderful wife Brenda have stewarded the Gibraltar Washington Island baseball team for 20 years. Actually, we didn't merge with Washington Island until about, I think, 10 or 12 years ago. But they're just such a great sports family and baseball family, and they support the boys so well. When the island kids come down, you can imagine trying to come to baseball practice, you know, every day of the week kind of a thing. And baseball games, the Kitas just put them up. All the island kids just stay at the Kitas' house, and they're retiring. And so if you know the Kitas, please thank them. They've been a wonderful asset to the Gibraltar High School sports community and baseball especially. And the team this year finished second in our division, in our conference. And so we got a bye in the first round playoff. So our first playoff game is Tuesday night. So fingers crossed. There's a home game at Gibraltar Field if anyone wants to come to see a high school playoff baseball game. Hopefully we can do to our opponent what the Brewers did to the Phillies yesterday. And anyway, so Tuesday night, think about baseball. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there another?
Mark?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's another, okay.
It just occurred to me when I made the announcements that I'm not going to be here for a couple of weeks. And so our joy is that on June 9th, Christina and I will celebrate 50 years of marriage.
I'll be brief. I have a joy and a concern. I'll do the concern first. You may have seen in WPR or JS Online that Wisconsin has finally gotten its first lawsuit against the ordinances for wake boating, banning wake boats on lakes of certain size and depth. It's in a tiny town of Scott, buried way up in past Schooner in Burnett County. 3 people, 2 from Florida and 1 from, I don't remember where the other, Texas, that's right, Houston, Texas, have decided that the Wisconsin public doctrine means that they can use their boat on any lake in any way they want, and so they've sued the town for limiting it. Their lake is very much like Kangaroo Lake, where the biggest depth is only 13 feet, and it's clearly inadequate to use these boats on that lake. As far as Clark Lake is concerned, this means that the hesitancy that I have seen already is only going to get magnified by the threat of a lawsuit. We knew this would come eventually, the state did, and so it's here, and hopefully this will be a one and done, and it'll prevent other people from thinking that they can win by a lawsuit. My joy is that tomorrow during gardening, anybody who shows up between like 10 and 11 and has a spade in their hand will get a beautiful musical series of selections to keep our heart light while we work hard. John has graciously agreed to come and play for us tomorrow.
Thank you for that wake-up call.
I have a concern for my 95-year-old mother. Phil and I just returned from Chicago. She's been in and out of the hospital 3 times in the last 2 weeks. She's lived independently up until now, and we're not sure that's going to be able to continue. So tonight we're having a Zoom call with all of my siblings, and I'm very happy to announce that everyone's pulling together to figure out what happens next for Mom.
Good morning, Anna Knapp. Not that we need a special month here at UUFDC to celebrate Pride, but it is June 1st, and so now I can say Happy Pride Month to all of you. Please do check out the huge variety of activities that are happening in our county this month to celebrate Pride. There's a good variety, so check them out.
And the pride flag waves in Madison. The governor raised it the other day. Thank you. We rely on your generosity of spirit and service and shekel. This offertory addresses the latter. As the offering plate passes before you, please give generously. You can also make contributions on our website at uufdc.org. Donate now. And if this is your first time visiting with us, let your presence here today be your gift. Thank you. The second reading is from a young poet who I think has got an incredible mastery of the language, Amanda Gorman. And I'm reading an excerpt from Earthrise. So Earth, pale blue dot, we will fail you not. Just as we chose to go to the moon, we know it's never too soon to choose hope. We choose to do more than cope with climate change. We choose to end it. We refuse to lose. Together we do this and more, not because it's very easy or nice, but because it's necessary. Because with every dawn we carry the weight of the fate of this celestial body orbiting a star. And as heavy as that weight sounded, it doesn't hold us down, but it keeps us grounded, steady, ready, because an environment movement of this size is simply another form of an Earthrise. To see it, close your eyes. Visualize that all of us leaders in this room and outside of these walls or in the halls, all of us change makers are in a spacecraft floating like a silver raft in space. And we see the faces of our planet anew. We relish the view. We witness its round green and brilliant blue, which inspires us to ask deeply, holy, what can we do? Open your eyes. Know that the future of this wise planet lies right in sight, right in all of us. Trust this Earth uprising. All of us bring light to exciting solutions never tried before, for it is our hope that implores us at our uncompromising core to keep rising up for an Earth more than worth fighting for. And now, for just a few moments, rest in the grace of quiet and solitude. And now I turn it over to Roger.
Thank you very much, Hank. When do I do the song? When do I do the song? Oh, next Tuesday. It's so good to see so many friends here. I miss Door County. Moving comes out of job necessities, things like this that happened. But what I'd like you to do right now, after a moment of silence, is to relax. Imagine you need to trust someone. The trust is important because there are consequences if you don't trust, and consequences if you do trust. The reason for the trust is you are on the very edge. And you feel yourself maybe unstable, like you are tipping forward. Tipping. Does the person you need to trust lend you a hand or give you a push? You are on the edge of America. Like magnets that repel, the politicians and the political polarization we are experiencing is both powerfully invisible and powerfully visible. There are intended consequences from those who deny things like environmental progress, justice, and climate change. And they may seek short-term financial gain or power. There are also unintended consequences from using things like fossil fuels. Congress is not in recess, it's in recession. What's that got to do with the price of eggs, debt, budgets, the Fed, inflation or depression, jobs, joblessness, healthcare, incarceration, guns, mass shootings? Who's reporting the weather, social equality, poverty? Right? Elvis Costello sang, "As I walk through this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Hope only gets you so far, and that's not far enough." Amanda Gorman, my Wendell Berry. "Come, look up with kindness, yet for even solace can be sourced from sorrow. We remember not just for the sake of yesterday, but for to taking on tomorrow." So, I wrote a piece of legislation with my wife, Ann. We very much admire what you do, Mark, and we are doing it in Connecticut. We used to do it here. The first version, 4 years ago, I was told by the Environmental Committee chair, "This is scary for everyone," even though the chair said she agreed with it all. The bill was titled, "A Climate Emergency Action for the State of Connecticut." It didn't budge that year. Year 2, no movement, whittled down to just a road map. All the important stuff was removed. Year 3, they took a chainsaw to it. Well, it was watered down and gutless, and it got through the House, but it did not pass the Senate. This is year 4, right now. Just a couple weeks ago, it passed in the House, but they took a chainsaw to it again. I call this random surgery. You go to the doctor and they remove this and this and this and that and this and that. What's left? All the tough actions were removed. Now a faint outline of what it once was. So it passed the House and we are waiting, maybe this week, a vote. But why all the cuts? Fear? A lack of education of the specific issues? And many do not feel empowered to do the right thing. Empowerment, not power, but empower your elected officials to do the right thing. They must know that if you voted for them, you will stand not behind them, but by them. Amanda Gordon again said, "Divided we cannot endure, but united we can endeavor to humanize our democracy and endear democracy to humanity. It falls to us to ensure that we do not fall, for a people that cannot stand together cannot stand at all." When do we compromise? I think sometimes we compromise when we should, but sometimes when we shouldn't. We met with a congressman who said, "Look, we'll compromise. Your side needs to come to our side, then we'll have a deal." I asked, "What is the compromise in that? None of what we need is in this action." The representative said, "You agreeing with us, that's a good deal. Our compromise is that we don't have to include you in our decision making. But if you will give us what we want, that's the compromise." So Ann asked me the other day, what is the new American dream? The tipping point. What's the point of the tipping point? The point at which a series of small changes or incidents become significant enough to cause a larger, more important change. It can also be a time during an activity or process when an important decision has to be made or when a situation changes completely. We call these crisis points, flash points, pivotal points, things like that. Right now, we find ourselves on the fence. To which side shall we fall? This can be described as a tipping point, the moment where we are at a specific level of change, a critical threshold. What has been happening for a while and what is happening right now can cause our social, political, technological, and environmental systems to reorganize in a new way. But depending on our behaviors, the new way may be something you endorse or reject. Small changes have big impacts. I think it can help to ask oneself questions and answer them with knowledge and honesty, not just emotions. How do we, you and me, deal with this? I'm going to give you a dozen questions to ask yourself. This is your homework. You don't have to say them out loud. Who do you trust? Does your vote matter? What do you have to know to change your own behaviors? What is your underlying fundamental driver to stay the same or to change those behaviors? What information do you need? I'll give this to Hank and he can post it on the website and you can read them. How do you know what's true? How do you recognize your biases? What do you need to work with, and who do you need to work with? And who do you need to convince? Is the scale of impact important to you? Do you have to be rich to affect change? What are you willing to give up or lose before you act or defend? What happens if you do nothing? What actions might you be willing to take to ensure a good quality of life now and for future generations? How far out are we looking? There are many more questions, and each has answers that can lift us up. Let's explore this world of tipping points in our lives and see if it elevates us towards good actions. We as a species are literally reconfiguring the earth. We are reconfiguring the climate. We are doing this through our industries and agriculture, unsustainable populations, pollution and waste, climate and social refugees, and war. We need something, I don't know, like a project. Let's call it a Progressive Project 2026, or 2027, or 2028. Just an idea. We've already bounced this off our senator in Connecticut, Senator Murphy. One that maps out all the situations and solutions in a roadmap. I'd like to see our senators think tank this in such a document for a far-seeing, suitable, science-led, cost-effective policies. But again, what is the American dream? I know what it was when my dad was around. What are we used to? I used to be the chair of the Door County Soil and Water Conservation Committee. Bill Schuster was the department head. One day we got talking about how perceptions change and how generations get used to whatever exists in their environment. I got thinking about land use in buildings. I am a boomer. Any boomers here? Born in the 50s, my folks were part of the silent generation, those born between 1925 and 1945. Any silent generations here? Yeah, a couple. One, two. When they came, my folks came to Door County in those early days, they would rent a cottage on the lake. It was all of 600 square feet. Small. That was before kids. After the family grew, 4 kids, they decided to build a cottage of their own up in Bailey's Harbor. It was about 1,100 square feet. And that's the cottage I got used to as a boomer. The smaller ones seemed like kids' clubhouses. People of my generation, the boomers, grew up and started families, and soon the Gen Xers came along, those born between 1965 and 1981. Anyone? Some of the boomers built new cottages, but this time they were larger, 1,800 to 2,500 square feet. And for the Gen Xers, that was their normal a 2,000 plus or minus size cottage, not 600 square feet. Well, the Gen Xers grew up, and soon came along the millennials, born from boomers and early Gen Xers between 1982 and 2000. Any Gen Xers here? Yeah, not enough, but that's good. The boomers and Gen Xers built more cottages, and they were 3,000 square feet or larger. The millennials grew up with cottages 3,000 square feet. This was their normal. Well, now they have kids, Gen Z, born between 2001 and 2015, and Gen Alpha, my grandchildren's age, 6, 3, so on and so on. Some of those millennials, with the help of their baby boomer parents, are building larger houses now, some well over 4,000 square feet. The millennials and the younger generations, the Gen Zs and the Alphas, will be used to the really big cottages as they grow up. So we get used to what our environment offers. And this has sort of led to a poorly controlled land use and building sizes in Door County. They all impact the environment of Door County. The amount of energy needed by the communities goes up, and then we complain about the big new power lines coming in. But all these things we're building need power. Ooh, wait, there's a solution to that too. It was born from the land of plenty, and now, as an unintended consequence, threatens much of what we love about Door County, the land itself. This has and is happening across the nation, and that lack of sustainable planning is coming home to roost. Okay, oil and gas, tough talk. According to the U.S. government and all the players in the oil patch, there are significant oil and gas reserves. You've heard this. Well, a reserve is what's in the ground that we can economically recover and sell to you, the customers, at increasingly raising prices. Oil reserves, as currently known in the United States, stuff we can get out of the ground economically, will last about 50 years. This is 2025. Gas reserves, as currently known, will last about 86 years. Our U.S. oil and gas resources are pumped from over 30 very large sedimentary basins across the entire country. These cover tens of thousands of square miles and encompass millions of drill holes. In them are hundreds of pools, pockets, and fields of oil and gas, some easy to recover, some very difficult to recover. But according to Columbia University and the data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, 78 to 90% of the natural gas that is recovered is done so using fracking. You know what fracking is? Crack the rock and pump it out. Now, fracking fluids are a cocktail of solvents, lubricants, viscosity-controlling chemicals, detergents, anti-corrosive and antibacterial chemicals, sand, and water. Some of the chemicals, such as hydrochloric acid, benzene, chromium-6, naphthalene, ammonia, well, a whole bunch of chemicals. Many are hazardous to human health and to our environment. But consider in 50 years, most of our economically recovered oil will have been pumped out of the ground. Now, if you're 70 like me, oh, big deal. I won't be here. Oh, yeah, but, people I love will. What then? Will we have put in place enough alternative energy sources to run our civilization? Will we look at our grid and say, this is working? What will our homes look like? You can see there's a lot of questions here, aren't there? I've been asking these questions for 50 years. We have some solutions. What will the environment and our climate all around us look like? So, think generationally. Think about what I'm telling you. But first, some more questions. I think you're getting the hang of this today. What is your age? You don't have to say it out loud. What is the age of your children? What is the age of your grandchildren? Some of you might have great-grandchildren. Let's touch base once again on thinking generationally. Generations are tagged every 14 to 23 years, depending on influencing events and historical markers. I'm 70 years old. I can't believe it. As I've said, I'm a boomer. Not my fault, just happened. I have 2 children. They're 42 and 40 years old. I can't believe it. They're millennials. I have 2 grandchildren. One is 6, one is 3, and we have another one on the way. They are alphas. In 50 years, when the U.S. known economically extractable oil reserves are used up, that will be the year 2075. But I'm telling you, it's not like a sharp deadline. As we go closer and closer to that every year, things change. In 50 years, I will be age, well, my 2 children may be 90 and 92 years old, requiring elder care and likely on fixed incomes. My grandchildren will be 53 and 56, not far from their retirement. Their children, my great-grandchildren, may be in their middle of their careers, in their 20s. What will their world look like for these younger generations and generations yet to come? What we do now depends on what that will look like. And that's why Ann and I ask again, what is the American dream? What do we want for us now and when you're my age? So how are we doing? Don't get too depressed. There's a little bit of good news. But we're not quite there yet. Let's look at electricity generation. Fossil fuels. Wisconsin generates electricity using 75% fossil fuels. The state I was born in. Your neighbor next door, Minnesota, 46% fossil fuels. Renewables, Wisconsin, 9%. Minnesota, 33%. Just as a point of reference, by the way, Texas is at 47%. Nuclear, 6% here, 21% in Minnesota. By the way, Minnesota has a third more EV chargers than Wisconsin. So, Minnesota is 25 to 30% more prepared for the future than Wisconsin. Take that to the General Assembly, Mark. And I have a whole list of things for you to take with you. So, Marshall Burke of Stanford said, "There is no excuse anymore to build dirty electricity power generation. No excuse anymore." So I have some more questions. How many, this is a poll, so just raise a hand. How many of you think natural gas is good? Wow. How, okay, I got one. I got a waiver over there from the Prairie Master. How many of you think that methane is good? Well, methane comprises 92 to 98% of what is in natural gas. The rest, a little bit of propane. Some people have said, let's use more propane. Except if you do, you have to pump an order of magnitude more natural gas and methane just to get that little aliquot of propane. Do we want to do that? Methane is the strongest greenhouse gas, 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide. We use a lot of natural gas. That is mostly methane. It has served humanity pretty well. It's lifted humans to a higher quality of life, but not all people. But it was and is often referred to as a bridge fuel. I first heard that term 50 years ago when I was young and in school. How long is this bridge? It's supposed to span the transition from a fossil fuel economy to a clean energy, sustainable economy. But actually what it's done when we use it as a bridge fuel is it's promoted the use of it more. So the bridge has been sitting there and we're not quite getting across it. And there are big problems with methane-loaded natural gas. The Environmental Defense Fund put a satellite in orbit last October to identify methane leaks across the country and around the world. They also put methane detectors on vehicles and drove them around American cities. What they are finding are leaks everywhere. Every city, every block, every pipeline, every storage facility, every power plant. And most of this methane is not inventoried in the greenhouse gas emissions inventory because it's fugitive methane. It's very hard to track. So the methane problem is actually significantly worse than we think. So, leaks at every turn. Exploration, fracking, production, pipelines, storage, transport, energy generation. We really need to move away from methane, propane, natural gas. How do we do that? Electrify. If we electrify, we can plug into our solar panels. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about some legal things. This is justice. We know that climate change impacts underserved communities the most, more than the rest. Those in lower incomes or minority neighborhoods are less able to deal with the financial burdens brought on by climate impacts that they did not create. These communities receive lesser amounts of tax dollars, support, and less urban improvements. This is a climate and environmental justice issue, and it overflows into communities and economic justice issues. And again, Marshall Burke from Stanford just simply noted that climate should be the front and center issue of environmental justice. It is these communities that have been, in many cases, bisected by massive highway projects that run right through them. You've driven those highways. You see the houses right next to the highway. Those people did not want that. It is in these communities where more oil refineries have been permitted, such as Cancer Alley in Louisiana. It is in these communities where the chemical plants and heavy industries conduct business, and the coal or natural gas power plants that exist nearby. Yes, there are often jobs, but the pollution from these sectors impacts health, wealth, quality of life for the people living there. The greenhouse gas emitted from sectors are largely fossil fuel sourced, and that is continuing to drive global warming and climate change. The fallout includes dangerously high heat days, floods, droughts, wildfires, sea level rises, and impacts or devalues or destroys property and threatens to take lives of the residents therein. Generational wealth is lost if they had it at all. Jobs are lost. The quality of life is degraded. There is a paucity of political empowerment and political will to address these challenges. The hurdles are huge, and surprisingly, a large number of elected officials at all levels of government are in climate denial or coupled simply with the refusal to pass laws and support policies that want to address these situations. We hear this all the time. It's not the right time. It costs too much. Okay. I've just been given the hook. I want to end on something that's really important. And I've got a list of actions that you can take at home, in a county level, in a state level, and a national level, which I'll make sure you get. But we have an acquaintance, Jim Natale. He's 26. He just started a native plants business. And he's starting to go into land restoration. And we got talking about this, because I used to do a lot of this before I went into movie making and stuff like that. One of the jobs I had was for a small Wisconsin environmental company to restore 500 acres of prairie and woodlands. The team was really good at this, and we accomplished the work. Later, I had taken a job with a big, huge engineering firm. I worked on a renewable energy project, but the company also built coal-fired power plants and gas power plants. One such power plant would require a square mile of land, 640 acres. So they would build one coal-fired power plant, and that would offset or counter the restoration we did of our 500 acres. So I know Wisconsin Natural Resource Conservation Service is doing lots of things, and the Great Lakes Restoration Initiatives, thousands and thousands of acres are being restored. But put it in perspective. The Milwaukee International Airport, which I use regularly, is 2,314 acres. The Denver International Airport, which I also use, is 33,000 acres of land impact. The Columbia Ridge landfill in Oregon occupies 12,000 acres. And even though, yes, nuclear power plants and wind farms and solar farms and things also take space, everything we do has an impact. So we want to choose the energy source that has the least long-term impact. So if you look at a Walmart, which is 6 acres, which is very important to the economy of Door County because a lot of people can afford to buy things there. They have 6 acres for the big box building in the parking lot. There are 98 Walmarts in Wisconsin. There are 19 enclosed shopping malls in Wisconsin. There are hundreds of other big box stores in Wisconsin. What if we put solar panels on all of these rooftops? What if we put solar canopies over all the parking areas? Our calculations in Connecticut would mean we'd never have to build another coal or natural gas power plant. Okay? This is a lot of land that we don't have to disrupt the green land that we have. So Ann and I are working also with groups to put a price on carbon. There's a bill in the House, U.S. House of Representatives called the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act. And what it basically does is put a fee on carbon emitted from fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas. And the dividend part is that money collected goes back to everybody in the United States. So that as the power companies raise their rates to have you pay for that, they're actually paying for it by getting this dividend. So you don't have to pay for that. You're not responsible for all of this happening, but you can actually be agents of change. So the tipping point that we are at is huge. And my wife and I, through going to Washington, D.C. at least twice a year to meet with our senators and reps, and in state at our senators and reps, we thought, how can we communicate more? So we said, let's make a movie. The tagline for the movie is, "The planet is boiling, Congress is frozen, one vote can save humanity." Nancy Pelosi told us when we almost got our bill through the U.S. House, I'll bring it to the floor because it'll pass here, but make sure first that it's going to pass the Senate. Well, all of us volunteers worked our butts off. We got within one vote in the Senate. No names mentioned, but the state of West Virginia was brought up. But the thing is that one vote would change your future. It would change my grandchildren's future. And we didn't make it. So I'm going to sing you a song. Just remember that my voice is kind of like if Bob Dylan and Neil Young had a baby. But I want to introduce the song. It's called "Why Is the Rain So Dry?" I wrote it for the movie. And there's, if you want to get access to it on the streams, there's a little note out on the table for it. And my wife, her childhood home was in Altadena. And you might know what happened with the Pacific Heights in Altadena this past year. It burned to the ground. So we actually drove through that neighborhood. And we saw the Dixie Fire, which I filmed. I used to work in Lahaina, Hawaii, which is now gone. So the song is called "Why Is the Rain So Dry?"
when the fire came down, when the fire roared through, billowed like thunderheads, nothing we could do. Why is the rain so dry? Why is the rain so dry? With a monstrous roar, lives burned out so fast. Paradise a nightmare, how long is this going to last? Why is the rain so dry? Why is the rain so dry? She asked me why this happens, asked where we'll go. A child's tearful questions, answers I don't know. Why is the rain so dry? Why is the rain so dry? Now you see this is urgent, but some are blind to this. In heated debate I wonder, how cold is that kiss? Why is the rain so dry? Why is the rain so dry? What is the antidote? Oh, for we are not immune. Why did we wait so long, and now it is too soon? Crimes of nature now should be tried and verdicts sung. Of accountability, I say, and the future of the young. Why is the rain so dry? Why is the rain so dry? Why did we wait so long? Why is the rain so dry? Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you very much. We're going to forego the singing of the second hymn, just in the interest of time, because we want to do the talk back and all of that. So I'm going to extinguish. Jay, would you do that for me? And Jay will extinguish the chalice as I read these words that I wrote several years ago. A brief thought on our common humanity. My blood courses through your arteries, your blood through my veins. Let us not neglect to seize that for which this metaphor aims, a safe and a sharing and a sacred humankind, one toward which we're all inclined. May it be so. Let me remind everybody then to go to the gathering room, have coffee and whatever else is out there to eat as well, tea and other beverages. And then we'll try to meet back in here in about 15 minutes, and you'll hear the chimes for